Hello, Wilson for real. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining. How was your day? I think we have a raid coming over, so I'm going to give everybody a few seconds to come in. I see some people in the bush, so thank you for coming. Hello, Living Better. How are you, sis? Welcome. Thank you for joining. Oh, yeah, meetings. Oh, Lord, I know about the meetings. Hello, honey, lemon tea. How are you? Welcome. Hi, Jasmine. Thank you for the raid. Thank you so very much. You had a nice video today. I'm sorry, you had a nice premiere today. That was very nice. So thank you for sharing your time with us today. I appreciate you. Hey, Taylor. Thank you for coming. Hey, Karosi. Hey, lady. How are you? Thank you for the raid, Jasmine. Again, thank you, lady, for following through for the raid. I appreciate you. Please thumbs me up and share me out if you can. Sharing is caring. So if you can share me out, that would be greatly appreciated. I hope everybody had a great Monday. We had a nice little storm here a few minutes ago, so I'm hoping that it's done and I don't have to jump off the system here. So I'm going to do things a little bit different this time. So, oh, you're so welcome, Jasmine. You're the best. You're quick and you are just awesome. So I appreciate you too. So what I want to do today, I want to start it off a little different today. But I'm going to start off by telling people that I am a licensed mortgage professional, but I also have clearance through the banks, the major banks, and through the federal government. So this chat, by no means at all, is a loan approval or a way of me cleaning up your credit. It's just information that I'm giving to everybody so that they can get their credit in line. So this today's topic is definitely about credit. That was a recommendation that I got last week, and I decided to go ahead and do credit, although it was different than my steps that I wanted to go through. But since I asked and they said that that's what they wanted to hear about, so I decided to follow through. So I will talk about credit today. So before I start, does anybody have any questions that they want to have addressed regarding credit before I start speaking on credit? Okay, so we have 7 wonderful content creators in the live. Thank you so much for joining me today. You're all greatly appreciated. If you are leaving me in the background because you are doing something important, I totally understand it. You just leave me running for at least 15 minutes. That's greatly appreciated. And also leave me a comment so that I know who you are so that I can come and check out your wonderful channel as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start talking about credit. I'm showing that I have 8 people in the chat. Hey, the life of JT, welcome. Thank you for coming. You're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy the live. Please give me a thumbs up. And what I had was a question. If there's anybody that had any questions prior to me starting the conversation regarding credit, if they would want to leave a message, if they want to put a comment in the section here below, I'll be happy to address your questions. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start talking about credit. Oh, thank you so much, JT. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. So I'm going to start talking about credit, but I'm going to start this by saying, how many of you know how long credit has been around? Just a wild guess. A wild guess how long credit has been around, how long people have been talking about credit. And I don't know ages out there, and I'm not asking anybody for their age, but I just want to see what type of idea do you guys have for credit history? How long has credit been around? Does anybody have any idea? There's no right or wrong answer when you're answering off of the top of your head. It is up to me to address it and give you the right answers. Okay, 1923. Okay. Years. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and say thank you for giving me an answer there, guys. So from the earliest days, the 18th centuries, that's how, thank you, Taylor, 18th century is when since the 50, wild guess. So it's like actually the 18th centuries for Americans. And how many of you know how credit was determined? So back then, credit was, yeah, I know, right? Credit was determined by the storekeepers, the landlords, the crop distributors, and how they determined your credit was by asking your secured loans. I'm sorry, it was by asking the well-regarded neighbors to vouch for your character. So that's how many cows. Yeah, they would ask the neighbor to vouch for your character. And with that being said, the neighbor would say, "Oh yeah, they pay very well." Hey Tiffany, how are you? Welcome, Stardom. Hey honey, welcome. So yes, so they would go to your neighbor and ask your neighbor, "How are you with paying your bills?" and things of that nature. They just ask for um, characteristic things on the neighbor, from the neighbor to you. So about you. So with that being said, my granddad used to say to me, your word is your bond. You would do a handshake and you were approved for credit. Now, you know they don't do that now, right? Wouldn't that be amazing if they would just take a handshake and your word and you had credit? So that tells you how the time has changed. So later on after that, the retailers started to find out that there was a benefit for building people's credit. So they started extending generous credit lines for like cars and department stores. But how did they determine the credit? They went beyond just credit. It began by them delving into our personal lives, people. Folks, they didn't just check your credit data, they checked your capital, your character, your social life, your political aspect, your gender. All of those things were used as part of your credit profile later on after the first set of credit was extended. So then we moved on into the 60s. When you move into the 60s, they started to, I wonder why they don't do that anymore. Taylor, they don't do it anymore because it's, I know you said laugh out loud because there's so many people here now. It's it's too many people here for them to keep up with that. So of course, the population grow and things change. So regulators then stepped into the breach to determine what information the agencies could collect, which in the 1970s, that's when the Fair Credit Reporting Act was implemented, and that was through the legislation. This required the bureaus to open their files to the public, expunging data on race, sexuality, disability, and the big one was deleting negative info after a specific period of time. So then they moved on to the final step in developing financial identity for all Americans brought forth the introduction of the credit scoring algorithm by the Fair Isaac, better known as FICO score, which was in 1989. That was the beginning of the consumer credit industry. So with that being told, I just gave you a little bit of history on credit scores. So we can go ahead and move into the actual slides for today. Did anybody have any questions? Hey, the Miss Yo-Yo Show, welcome. Thank you, dear. I appreciate you coming in. Okay, so we're gonna move right along into the slide. So we've already gone over the history of the credit history of credit. Does anybody have any questions before I move forward? Okay, so as we know, you guys probably hear it all the time that there's three major credit bureau reporting agencies. And that is, of course, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. But did anybody know that there actually was a fourth credit bureau agency? There is a fourth one, and it's Enovis. And we'll talk about Enovis later on in the slides. Okay, so then we got to talking about Equifax. Equifax is an American multinational consumer credit report agency, and it's one of the three largest consumer credit reporting agencies, along with Experian and TransUnion. Equifax collects an aggregate information of over 800 million individual consumers and more than 88 million businesses worldwide. Although there has been data breaches with Equifax remains the lender's choice for credit reporting, meaning more creditors report to Equifax. Now, Experian is another one. Experian at one time was considered FICO. There are new things that came to Experian that will help you with your credit score. They have something that's called Boost Your Credit Score. Now, here's the thing about Boost Your Credit Score. What they will put on your credit report is your electric bill, let's see, it was electric bill. They will do your cell phone bill, and it's one other one. I want to say it was water. But with that being said, that can be good, but it can also be bad because a lot of people don't pay their utility bills on time or their cell phone bills on time. So if you're going to boost your credit and you're going to utilize that on Experian, please, please, please make sure you pay your bills on time, because if you don't, that's going to now be a reflection on your credit. Now, we definitely do not want to forget about little old TransUnion, because they also are a credit reporting agency too. So they actually report to some lenders use Equifax only. Some use TransUnion, some use Experian, some uses all three. I will tell you, in the mortgage industry, we use all three credit bureaus. And what we do is we take the middle score of the three. So if you have a credit score of 600 with Equifax and 601 with TransUnion and 650 with Experian, they're going to take that middle score. So no matter which score is the highest, they go off the middle score. Now, if you have two of the scores that are the exact same, which is rare, but it does happen, they're going to take the lower score. So if you have a 650 and a 650 and a 598, they're going to take that 598. It seems unfair, but that's how they do it in the business for mortgages. Now, in the car dealership world, they will take the one credit score, which is Equifax. No matter how much you beg them to tell them to pull a particular credit score, they are going to pull Equifax because Equifax, more people report to Equifax. So they're going to find out more about you through Equifax than they are going to find out through TransUnion and Experian. Now, Experian, they are sorry, let me move the screen here. We're on Experian. Experian is also a credit reporting agency that collects aggregate information on over 1 billion people and businesses, including 235 million individuals in the U.S. consumers and more than 25 million U.S. businesses. So you guys do know that they pull credit on business as well. TransUnion is an American consumer credit reporting agency that collects aggregate information of over 1 billion individual consumers in over 30 countries, including 200 million files profiling nearly every credit active consumer in the United States. Its customers include over 65,000 businesses. Does anybody have any questions so far about the three bureaus and how they come up with the scores? Which score they're going to use, the lenders? Okay, so there was a young lady last week, and I don't think she's on the live today, but she had mentioned that she was told that you can get 2 credit reports per year free. And the fact is that you get 1 free credit report per year in a 12-month period, unless you were denied for credit. If you are denied for credit, you can request a copy of your credit bureau. And the place that you go to get your free credit report is going to be annualcreditreport.com. This is the only website that is authorized for free credit reports. I do have a phone number, and I'm not sure if I put it on one of the slides, but if I did not, I will be happy to give you guys the phone number. But a whole nother thing, with COVID-19, there is discussion going on that is going to allow people to get their credit report monthly free of charge if they feel that they have been wrongfully reported. That has not come to the front and center yet, but that is what's been talked about now. Now, I want to talk about having backups. I don't know if you know, like if you're at work, you have a person, if you're out, they're going to be your backup. Or if you're overwhelmed, you have a backup person that's going to step in and help you. in a time of a crisis or any time of your schedule being over overloaded. Well, credit bureaus have a backup too. And while we're talking about them having a backup, they use another source of credit resources too. Also support their decisions. So there is a list of them that I can give you, but I'm going to talk about three of them today. If you want any additional ones, you can come to my IG, send me a message, and I'll be happy to share that information with you. But you need to protect your credit. And I don't mean by not giving out your social security number, because that is a big one. You definitely don't need to do that. But I'm saying protect your credit, lock your credit down. You can go through all three of the bureaus and lock your credit down. I recommend starting with Equifax because Equifax gives you a link to go ahead and lock your credit down with the other two repositories. So you want to go in, you lock it down, they send you a PIN number in the mail. Now, Equifax has changed theirs. They will now allow you to not have the PIN number as long as you can answer some security questions, and they will unlock your credit. So if you lock your credit, please be sure that you keep your PIN numbers. But also remember, before you apply for credit, you have to unlock your credit because the lender or the creditor will pull your credit and they will get a kickback saying that you have a fraud alert on your credit and they cannot pull your credit, which will cause you to have to send in additional information. That's safe, but if you can eliminate that and you know that you are actually the person applying for credit, be sure to unlock your credit before you apply for any credit. Equifax tell you it could take up to 4 hours. Some will tell you 24 hours. My personal experience has been within 10 minutes, my credit has been unlocked. But as soon as the credit is pulled, I get my notification that it's been pulled and I go back in and I tell them to lock it back. But they will ask you also, how long do you want your credit to be unlocked for? So whoever I am given permission to pull my credit, the first thing I ask them is, when are you pulling my credit? And if they tell me they're pulling it within 10 minutes, 15, my next question is, you can either pull it while I'm on hold or call me back once you pull it. And I mean call me back once you pull it because I'm locking my credit back down. So outside of the three bureaus, there are three additional credit repositories that I recommend you guys to call, go online. I cannot give you their numbers because these are personal contacts that I have. And if I give out my contacts, they're going to be kind of mad at me when I need them to help me. So I'll have to get you to go online. But LexisNexis, Innovis, and Clarity. And there are many others. And I think if you remember last week when I spoke about the credit bureaus, I spoke about the ones that there's another set of backup for people that have payday loans, people that have loans through not an ordinary dealership, but just like I think they call them tote your notes. They report to the credit bureau, but they don't report to like Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. They have their own set of people that they report to. So these other three repositories get that information. Regardless to who they report it to, they have access to it. So there is no leaf left unturned. They are going to find you. So with LexisNexis, it is a corporation provided computer assistance legal research, as well as business research and risk management services. They came out during the 70s. LexisNexis, they also provide information for insurance companies, because you do know insurance companies pull your credit, but they pull what they call a soft credit, so you don't really see it against your credit, but they do pull credit. So next, guys, we're going to, before I move on, does anybody have any questions regarding the slides that I have presented to you? Any questions about the repositories, the credit scoring, anything of that nature? Does anybody have any questions? Yes, no, maybe, hello, Bueller, Bueller, anybody there? Thank you so much, Taylor. I'm going to go over to that next. That's going to be my next slide after this one. Thank you for answering. I was beginning to think that I was not live anymore. It was very quiet. So with that being said, reporting times. This is another important thing that you guys have to be aware of when you're dealing with your credit and your creditors. So with reporting time, not all lenders report monthly. Now this can be bad because when you're paying your bills timely, or if you're paying extra payments, your balance should decrease, correct? So with your credit your balance is decreasing, your utilization amounts decrease, as long as you haven't charged additional credit or open up additional credit cards. So you're supposed to keep your credit at 30% or less. So if you are paying a debt, and my credit union was big, they didn't report to the credit bureau, and it did not dawn on me until I actually pulled my report and saw that they had not reported in like 6 months, and the loan was $100 away from being paid off. So I had to go in and have them to restructure and fix the credit because they did not report credit every month. They said they only report credit when it's bad. That was not a good answer to give me, because I think about all the people that are struggling with their credit, and you only report people when they are negative on their credit. That was not cool. But also be cautious with the months in the calendar days, guys, because there are people, and I must admit, there are people, I've known a lot of customers, they cannot make their payments in a timely manner, which I try to teach them to restructure, cut back, don't buy too much, don't spend too much, because if you cannot maintain your credit, what good? Your credit is your life. Your credit is everything. So with that being said, the lender would the lenders report, and I need you to be cautious because the days of the month, how many days are in the month. So like I said, most people may pay, if they're due on the 15th, they may pay their car payment when it's 29 days past due. but they pay it before it goes 30 days. So the credit bureau doesn't hit them with a 30-day late. But you have to be careful because there are the months that have 28 days. There's some months that have 29 days, leap year. And then you have a 30 days, 31 days. And you don't want to get caught with that. I had a customer, she was saved by the grace of God and the leap year because she made her payment every month 29 days late. And this particular month was February. And she thought that she had missed the cutoff for the 29-day. And she called the dealership, the creditor, and they said, oh, no, you're not 30 days late. You will be tomorrow. And if you don't pay it by 5 p.m. today. So be careful if you are running the risk of doing that because things can happen that you may not be. Your mind gets to wondering and you don't pay attention to it. So please be cautious of making your payments on time. Here's a sidebar note that I have to give to you guys too. For mortgages, especially mortgages, late fees are fees that are collected by the lender, the creditor. And it does not count against your credit if it is not paid within the month the payment is made. However, I am not condoning people to make their payments late because the grace period is not to give you 15 days to pay your payment after the first. The grace period was set up for people that was doing snail mail. So they had 15 days to get their payment into the bank before it was considered late and have to pay the late fee. Now, I do know that they will not foreclose on you if you make your payment late every month and never pay the late fee. They cannot foreclose on you for a late charge on a mortgage. We had a customer, I serviced this customer because I was in collections at the time. He never paid a late charge on his mortgage. He was late every month he had his mortgage. When he paid off his loan, the bank sent him his deed because he fulfilled his end of the obligation of paying his debt in full. However, he still owed the bank, and I'm going to see if I can reach out and remember this one. He owed the bank almost $20,000. It was almost $15,000 to $20,000 in late fees because he never paid his late fee. He never paid it. What he did, he was good because he got his deed. He's satisfied. So we could take his house. So what he did was he played around and played around and played. We had to get legal actions against him for the late charges, but they couldn't take his house. So again, I don't condone that, but that's a sidebar that I've known that to happen with people. Also, when you're making your payments, I know a lot of creditors and lenders are now being very specific about having your payment in by 5 o'clock or you have to pay the late fee. In my book, that doesn't make sense because it's still that day. So if it's due on the 1st and you pay it on the 1st at 9 o'clock or 11:59, in my opinion, that's still that day. But most of the creditors will now still charge your late charge, and things doesn't change until it happens to somebody in Congress. I have seen this happen. I have witnessed this many times before, but because we're not in Congress, we can't make those changes. The only thing we can do is go to the court, to the office, and talk to our congressmen, our leaders, and talk to them about it. But it does not change unless it happens to them. So you have to ask your creditors, what is the latest you can take my online payment so you don't have to pay the late fee? I don't know about credit card companies. I haven't collected on credit cards since the 80s. I don't know much about the collection as far as how much you have to pay for the credit cards, late charges. So just be aware of that. Also, another thing I have to tell you is that now with mortgages, now I'm speaking mainly of mortgages because this is what my monthly platform is about, mortgages. If you are paying your mortgage on the 15th or the 16th, because the 16th is the last day that you can get that payment in without paying a late charge, the quote unquote grace period for mailing. If you're paying it on the 16th and the 16th falls on a weekend or a holiday, that late charge will not be charged to you until, unless you do not make it on the next business day, which will be that Monday. So if the 16th is on a Saturday and you have until that 16th, 17th, you have until the 18th to make that payment without being paid, charged a late fee. So again, just be cautious of the calendar, the days of the week. And I'm not condoning people to make their payments late, but I know people are having hard times. Just keep in mind to try and keep your credit up, because you do know also, if you pay for each day, credit is, it accrues interest daily. So if you pay it ahead, that interest that they're charging you will be less because you beat them to the punch. So try and pay your bills early so that you don't have to pay the 30 days of interest that they charged you up front. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you. Enjoy your dinner. Okay, Taylor, this one. Okay, Taylor, this one is for you. You had a question about how your credit is being read and the findings. So I'm going to tell you that information now. With credit readings and what's involved in your credit score, for years, the mortgage and banking industry, no one knew what Fair Isaac was. No one knew how the scores were calculated. All we would tell our customers is that the algorithm. Years later, the lenders and the creditors learned more regarding the scoring process, which is the age of your credit, the age of the traditional credit, the credit usage, collections, judgments, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. They look at all of that. They also pay attention to how long you have lived in your residence. So if you were one that move around a lot, you have to have an excuse, not an excuse, I'm sorry. You have to have a letter of explanation as to why you moved around. You have ladies or gentlemen that are in abusive relationships. They move around so that they don't get found, or you have people that are working in companies that transfer them around a lot. You have people that are just like retirees. They want to retire and they want to try a state out, and they go and they come and they come and they go. So those are the reasons why you have to, that's one of the things they look at. And I'm getting low battery here. Sorry guys, battery going low. It was full, I don't know what happened. Okay, so yes, so they look at where you live. They look at how long you've been on your job, because that shows up on your credit report. And if it doesn't show up on your Equifax, TransUnion, and your Experian, it's gonna follow on. It's gonna be located on one of the backup credit agencies. So they calculate your age of your credit. So some people think that. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that a person that has no credit has good credit? Hey, Yolanda Johnson, welcome. Thank you for stopping in. So does anybody know, what do you think? Do you think if someone has absolutely nothing on their credit, do you think that that's good credit? So I'm pulling your credit and I see absolutely nothing on your credit. Thank you, Carol. That is correct. That is not good credit. Let me tell you why. Because if I get your credit report and you're trying to buy a house, you have nothing on your credit report. Thank you guys for answering. I really appreciate you guys. And I get your credit report and you have nothing on your credit. How am I going to judge to see if you're going to be able to pay your debt? How's that underwriter? How am I as an underwriter when I get the loan? How am I going to determine if you are going to be able to pay your debt? Let's see, was it hard to bring your score up after you have settled your bad account? That's a yes and no question, living better, because a lot of people are being told now don't settle out their debt because if something happens, meaning that, say, for instance, you had a hospital bill for surgery, or you had a credit card and you settled out and you paid the settled out amount. Your credit score will go up, but do not pay them by a check. That's correct, Wilson Freer. That is a good one. Do not pay them by check. You can give them a card that you put cash on, because if they come, because they're third party now. If it's a collection item, they become third party. So they actually bought your debt from the original creditor. And the original creditor paid them some money for them to collect on the debt. But if they collect, they go and they say, okay, I'll settle out with you for 20% on the dollar, or I'll take 50% off, or I'll take 30% off, whatever the figure is. They are supposed to go back to the original creditor and say, hey, is this okay? But they want to settle that debt so bad. Hey, Candy C. That's right, Tiffany. That is correct. So, yes, so they want to settle out that case as quickly as they can, because the longer they have it, the more idle the account becomes. And guess what? The original creditor is going to call them and say, hey, ABC, you didn't collect this quick enough. I need this back. And they'll take it back and they'll sell it to somebody else. That's how these credit companies are selling off the debt. And initially, in the beginning, people were like told that they can get their credit clean, and once you get the collections off, it won't come back. That is not so, because they sell them to third parties. And if they cannot collect it, they keep selling it. So it keeps coming on your credit, it keeps coming, it keeps coming, and you think, oh, it's been 7 years. And on that 6th year, on that 364th day, bam, they sell it to somebody else. It starts all over again. So they have become wise to that. And I tell people the only way to get good credit and keep good credit is pay your bills. I know things happen. Pay your bills, keep your credit report updated, look at and don't be afraid. When somebody puts something on your credit that doesn't make sense and you don't think it's yours, dispute it. Get to the end of it. Medical collections are the worst. Are the worst. I have a medical collection that keeps coming on my credit, and I have letters to say this has been paid. I had to finally get an attorney to send them a cease and desist and say, if you send my customer another letter, she is going to sue you, because they didn't file the claim in time. So my insurance said, hey, you didn't file this claim in time. My customer doesn't, my patient doesn't owe this. You owe it. So they just kept playing. See, what they think is somebody's going to slip and not know, and they're going to either pay or they're just going to let it hit the credit and they're not going to worry about it. So you have to check your credit. Check your credit. Go through Credit Karma, Credit Sesame. You can even go to all the credit bureaus and sign up and get your credit report. Now, I will tell you this, out of all of those credit bureaus, because I have 7 apps on my phone right now for all the credit companies, credit repositories, and each one of them, the score is different. Even with Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, they're all different scores. because and when someone pull your credit, that score is going to be totally different from even what Equifax have told you the score is. Nobody really knows, and that's what makes it so challenging. Nobody really knows how those scores are being calculated. They know that for a house, they want to see what you do for this, what you do for that, how much you spend for this. They want to see all of that. So everybody's different. So all of these credit reports and credit bureaus you pull, I can pull them. I pulled my Experian today, and I had 3 different scores from 3 different places. I went to Experian itself, I went to Credit Sesame, and I went through another third party, and each one of those scores were different. But then when I applied for credit, guess what? The score was higher. So use those tools as just a guideline of what's going on in your credit. Don't use it saying that's actually your score, because it is not. They cannot tell you your score because, heck, they can't even tell you themselves until they pull your credit. Because guess what? With that pull, guess what happens? Your score goes down. So back to your question, living better, your score will go up. It will go up. And I think actually there's one credit collection agency. I got an update from one of my friends over at Equifax. She said that I'm trying to think what was the name of the company. They no longer send your stuff back to the credit bureau and say that the debt was paid off. They just completely take it off your credit. It's never there. It was like it never happened. So your score will go up. I recommend, because here's my theory. If I bought and I use that credit card, I owe the money. I'm going to pay the debt back. And that's just me. I'm going to pay it back. Because otherwise, I'm considered a thief because I bought all this stuff and didn't pay it back. So that's my look at it. I know a lot of people, they probably going to cross me on this. They're going to probably say some things. And hey, this is my opinion. And this is how I've lived my life. And this is how I've told my customers to do. I had a lady that had a 429 credit score. 429. That was the lowest score that I had ever seen. She followed all my guidelines, everything I asked her to do. And within a year, I had her in the house and I got her score to 628. I didn't do any of that credit cleaning. I told her exactly what to do: settle out, pay off debt, keep your credit clean, open up a secure line of credit. And I got her score up and she bought a house. And she's still in her house today. Any other questions? Thanks for the question, Living Better. That was great. And again, yes, no credit is not a good credit. Not a good credit. And it'll even give you a credit score. You'll even have a credit. Now, I've seen credit that has no score at all, but with no credit, that meant that you had credit somewhere before in the past. So that's why you have a credit score. But if you get one that has absolutely no credit score, that's because they never, ever, ever, ever had credit. And we cannot determine if that person is going to be a risk or not. So they will not extend your credit. So start off by going to your credit union, getting a line of, not a line of credit, I'm sorry, secured credit card, and start that way. Okay. So back to the credit readings, Taylor. So yes, they look at the age of your credit. So like for me, I am years old. My credit age is long and old. So every so often, I have to do things such as apply for a new credit card or do what they call a balance transfer so that it will refurbish that credit life, because credit age has a lot to do with your credit score. Excuse me. Also, the age of your traditional credit plays a big part too. Excuse me. Oh, and credit usage. Now, judgments. Here's a good one. Judgment. People live by that 7-year rule that it falls off. I have seen instances where the judgment was on the credit and the person went back before that 7th year and reopened the case. And the judgment never fell off. Let me tell you how that judgment finally fell off. The person passed away, unfortunately. The person passed away. But the judgment was a mechanic lien. So judgments are one that's hard to come by to get off. And also bankruptcies. Now, each state has different laws for foreclosure. Before I go any further, let's go to foreclosures first. Foreclosures. Each state has a different law that's pertaining to foreclosures. I'm in Georgia. Georgia is a state that will not sue you for a foreclosure. It will stay on your credit for 7 years and then it will fall off. But there are other states that will take your tail to court for a foreclosure. So you'd have to learn which state will take you to court. But again, I'm not condoning going to foreclosure or paying your bills late. So I know things happen, but when you're buying a home, don't, just because you qualify for a certain amount does not mean that you could go and buy that full amount. Take your time. Do not do that. So then with bankruptcies, you do know there's a 13, a 7, and an 11. And on the 13, that is a repayment plan. On a 7, that's a complete wipeout of the credit. And then the 11 is the business. On a chapter 7, I'll put it this way. I have my feelings on the chapter 7 too. And I have an 11. I'm sorry, chapter 13 and 7. I don't think, now the only difference is a 13 will stay on your credit for 7 years. A 7 will stay on your credit for 10 years. But after that bankruptcy falls off your credit and you think your credit score is going to go up, nope, it's not. Your score is going to go down. Because guess what? That bankruptcy was actually being read on your credit as a part of credit. So your credit score will go down. Sad but true. That is true. 13s and 7s. I have my feeling on the third. If you're going to ruin your credit, I just don't see the purpose of doing a repayment plan. Again, I'm the one that says that if you bought the things, then go ahead and pay it back. But if you're ruining your credit by filing that chapter 13, I don't know. I would probably go ahead and do the 7 because you've already overextended yourself. And if you're not paying the debt on time and you've got your credit all in a mess, I don't really see the purpose of doing the 13. A lot of attorneys will talk to you and tell you because they have to do what they call a means test. And I've seen people that they could not do the chapter 13 and get to do the chapter 7 and then get all the way to the courts and they don't pass the means test. So now you got 2 dings on your credit. They changed the 13 to a 7. And you got 2 dings on your credit. Hello, CV Jewelry. Thank you for coming. Natural Way of Polly. Hi, how are you? And that's a good thing, CV Jewelry, to set up the payment plan. It absolutely is. At first, I would settle out first before it goes to collection. I would see if I can settle out on the debt first and then just pay it down. Some of the creditors will also allow you to pay it back on. Exactly. You're right. That's exactly right, CV Jewelry. That's exactly right. They will. The first way you can get them is say, hey, you got all these late fees on it. Can you take the late fees off and I'll just pay the balance? I'll just pay it down. That's the first start. If they see that you are willing to work, because they don't want to sell the debt off because they don't make all the money. They only make a certain percentage of it. So you want to make sure that you can keep it with the creditor. And then after that, if you go through and you do good with the payment plan, guess what? They will come back around and they will offer you a new credit card because you followed through. Everybody go through. Most people have problems and they go through things. I'm not going to say everybody, but I kind of think most people go through things. And the credit card companies will actually work with you because they don't want to lose your business, first of all. And they want to make every penny because guess what? They're going to make money off that interest. But if they sell that debt to a third party, they are going to have struggles because they're going to make all the money back. Okay. Okay, so I need to also speak to you guys about money management, but that's where the beautiful Tiffany Chanel makeover money, Mondays makeover money. But you need to be very careful with your spending. Just again, because you qualify for a certain amount, don't jump out there and go into that $300,000 house because you qualify for it because things such as what's going on now happens. And if you don't have a nice savings account, or if you don't have ways of, extra income coming in, that's not good. You're going to mess up your credit, and then you're going to lose your house on top of that. So just don't go out and overspend. Just be very, very cordial with your money. Don't go out and overspend. Okay, so I wanted to go over something else with you guys before. This is a list of the actual credit contact information websites. And again, if you want to know the phone numbers to the direct repositories, let me know in Instagram. I'll be happy to send it to you. I have to get the number that's outside of my contact because if I give my contact information out, he or she's gonna be mad at me and they won't be able to help me on my loans. Um, but I wanted to go over something with you guys right quick. It was something that came out in 2019, and they talked about the states that had the best and the worst credit scores. Does anybody know what region had the worst credit scores? What region do you think had the worst credit scores? Exactly, natural weight pennies on it. I graduated from college with a guy. He actually owned a collection agency, and he told me some information. He's one of my contacts too. He told me some information on. I said, "Oh my God, I'm in the wrong business." He made a lot of money off of that. Tiffany Chanel, hello. How was dinner? So, does anybody have any idea which region of the United States have the best and the worst credit scores? I was, I kind of figured it would be, but I was shocked. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and pull it up. I think I still have it on my. I'm gonna pull up the. I got it off the website today, so give me a second. I'm gonna pull it up. Uh, where was it? Mm, okay, I don't have it. I thought I said. Oh yes, I do. It's on my desktop. There we go. All right, guys. Let's see if you can see that. Give it a second for it to pick up. Okay, so Look at the states in red. The worst credit scores. Georgia is one of them. But the best credit scores is in the Midwest region. Unbelievable. Where you guys figure that that's why the credit scores are so they're not so good in the states that are red. Oh, okay, Tiffany. We got 30 minutes. I actually gonna make it to raid you, Tiffany. Yay! Still talking. But why do you guys think those red states are the states that have? Yes, I'm in the South too. I'm in the South too. Well, one resource said that the reason why those states are in the red is because they're the states that have, um, economy wise, was one of them. But I had to disagree with them on that because Texas was known to have a really good economy. Thank you, Natural Way. I appreciate you coming in too. But this is just, it floored me to see how red it was down in the southern states. And oh my goodness. And we all know West Virginia is a poor state. Um, and I hate to say it that way, but that's exactly what we were taught in sociology and all the other courses I took. They were like saying it, and then looking at it on the news, they said West Virginia is a poor state. Louisiana is a poor state. Now I know it's a poor state because I have family there. It's a very poor state. But to see Oklahoma and Texas, I was actually, well, maybe, yeah, Oklahoma, yeah, I could see that. But Texas, I was really floored about that. And it did not, I was not shocked with Georgia. Not at all. Not at all. But interesting. Okay, so back to the slides. So, did anybody need to copy the links, or do you need me to send you the links? I don't know if you can copy them or not, but those links are what you need to do to lock down your credit. This is going to protect you because our credit is being pulled around. We've got credit breaches with Equifax and all these other creditors, hospitals, uh, big big companies releasing your information. And the best way to protect yourself, you're surprised by this. Yeah, yeah, but New York wasn't. I was shocked too. I was shocked too. New York, I think I don't want to say that. I don't want to say the wrong thing because I have family in New York too, really close family. So I'm going to leave that one alone. Their credit was good, and but everything is so expensive there. So I just thought that it would be one of the states where people would run with credit and just overspend, but I guess not. But again, that list was from 2019, so 2020 hasn't come out yet. And I am actually looking forward to seeing 2020 with everything that has gone on. So, but guys, yeah, lock your credit up. Keep your credit locked because, again, with everything that goes on with your credit, coulda, shoulda, woulda. I am on lockdown. And anybody that's in the government officials or they have LexisNexis. They have a thing that you can fill out also that's going to protect you where your phone. This one here also, guys, I meant to tell you this. On the LexisNexis and the Clarendon, all those extra credit bureaus, I had to get that cleaned up too. You're going to have to clean it too because I pulled LexisNexis. Do you know they had every address that I ever, even an address that I lived in that I did not apply for credit in, they had addresses on that. It was my grandparents' address. They had every address that I ever lived at. Before I was able to get credit, apparently a doctor's note or something came to the house at my grandparents' house, and they labeled that as part of my addresses that I lived at. Every phone number I ever had was on there. So I had to go in and clean all of that up. So if you are a elective official, if you are um, um, a government official, you can go in there and make sure you have a comment put in so nobody can get anything about you, because with my clearance through the government and my husband's through the government, we have people coming to it. We had somebody come to our house. I had a lady to call me on a Friday night, and this is when I was in collections. Now my name is a very odd name, but the phone was in my husband's name. She called me because I sent her a notification letting her know that we were sending her loan to foreclosure. Now, mind you, I had called her for the full month and she would not return my call. But when I sent the foreclosure letter to her, she freaked out and she called me on a Friday night. Okay, natural, yes, and there are others. Yes, okay. Are you going live too? Guys, it's a total of about 16 of these places that gets credit information and give it to the major bureaus. And what Natural Way Akadi is saying, that is true. So you got to lock them all down. You got to clean them up and lock them down. And if you lock them down, you don't have to worry about people putting stuff against your credit. So it's so if you guys need these links, or if you want me to email them to you, that's what I could say. Oh, okay. Okay, Natural. But again, thank you again for coming. Um, if you want me to email you the links in a email, I can do that, or I can go on IG and send them to you, because I'm very serious, guys. Lock your credit down. Lock your credit. I've seen so much in this business that I have had people to go to a closing. I've done their loan. I did all of the quality control. And in the room next to where I was closing a deal, I saw the FBI coming to a closing and cart people off to jail because they had stolen someone's identity and was purchasing a house. So I've seen so much in this business. I really want you guys to lock your credit up. Please do it for the sake of your credit, for the sake of your. Okay, okay, I understand. I understand. So, yes, for the sake of your credit and for the sake of your livelihood and your rest at night, I have seen some things. So, lock up your credit. Lock up your credit, please. So, before I go to the last and final slide, does anybody have any questions that you want to bring up to me for me to address regarding your credit? And I hope what I've told you guys was very informative. It's just that with me trying to do a live in 2 hours or less, it takes me, it's just so much for me to write down. I have so much to tell you guys. That's why I'm going to make this every Monday to tell you things. And next Monday, I will not be talking about credit. It's going back to mortgage. We're going to go back to mortgages. So I'm going to show you how we calculate your debt to income ratio. I'm going to tell you some of the, um, oh gosh, what is it called? The the acronyms for the different terms that I use in the mortgage. So when you're talking to, because when you do it for a living, you don't really think about it, and you talk to your customers, and your customers are absorbing what you're saying, but then they're sitting there like, what the heck is a DTI? What is a CVI? What is a VOE? What is a VOD? So I'm going to go over some of the things that you need to have in the process of getting a mortgage. So Let me write that down so I won't forget it. So I'm going to go focus mainly on mortgages next week. But anytime anybody want to suggest me to do something else, I'll be happy um, to give that information to you. So any questions? We got 15 minutes before I have you guys to rate Tiffany Chanel for your money makeover Monday so y'all can drop those money bags. Can I find out how many people are actually in the chat right now? Can you drop me a pink heart, please? A pink heart if you're in the chat. Now I know Natural is with her children, so I know she said that I'm running in the background, which I understand. So no need to run to try and drop a pink heart. I know you're in the back. But anybody else that's still out there, please drop me a pink heart so I know, so that I can thank you for coming and keep going on so that we can try and raid Tiffany Chanel at 9 o'clock. I really hope you guys follow through with the raid. She's a very great inspiration to Monday nights with her Money Makeover Mondays. And she's probably going to take away my candy bar or something because I can't remember all of them, but she's in there. Thank you, Wilson, for real. Thank you for dropping the purple heart. That works for me. Thank you. So did everybody enjoy the live today? Did you guys have enjoy what I brought up to you today? Again, somebody recommended this and they didn't even come to the live. So hopefully they will look at the replay because I did not intend to go over credit. Credit is touchy. And with so many different companies out there now that's telling people that they could clean their credit, which they do. But I have a friend, she and I got into a huge argument because she kept telling me that her stuff wasn't going to come back on her credit and she was good. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you for the purple heart. But we had a huge argument about it. And I finally told her that I'll let the proof will be in the pudding, honey. And she got her credit cleaned. And then, thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Wilson, for real. Thank you, Karosi. I think Jasmine calls you something else. I don't know, and I don't even know if I'm saying your name correct, so I apologize. I was in your live last week, and I had a great time. So I apologize if I'm saying your name incorrect. But if you have another name that you would like for me to use to call you, I would do that. But I'm glad you learned some information. And that's what, thank you, Living Better with the pink. Woo, woo. Now, where my green at? Y'all know I'm AKA pink and green, pink and green. So, yeah, I want to make you guys informative about as much of this business as possible because I don't need you to go to be blindsided when you're trying to buy your home or try to get your car. Oh, thank you. So I said it right. Pat on the back. Yeah. Whoop, whoop. So, but anyway, I try to make this work out for you guys and have you guys all in a good way with your credit. Like I said, I want you guys to have a healthy credit. One of my moderators, Living Better, is a Jasmine still on? I haven't seen her in a minute either. Can you guys go ahead and drop Tiffany Chanel's link so that when she is ready to go live, we can go over and become Raiders of the Lost Ark. We can go and Raider. So I'm going to give you guys a disclaimer before we finish this off because I always have to cover my CYA. I got to cover my tail. So I am a licensed mortgage professional. This chat is not meant to clean your credit. I am simply offering advice and support to make your, it should have been credit, to make a healthier credit profile. And this chat also does not constitute a loan approval and or interference with any lender or realtor. So if you're in the process of dealing with your lender now, if you have questions, you're more than happy to DM me and ask me. But I do not interfere with your relationships with your loan officer or your realtor. Thank you, Living Better. I'm glad you learned a lot. Thank you. Thank you for participating and going into in the chat with questions. Thank you, Wilson, for real, for participating. Perosi, thank you guys all for participating. It means a lot when I'm talking, especially since I don't see you face to face. See, I do first time home buyer seminars and I can see people and I can read their expressions and whatnot. So talking to you guys behind closed doors is just, woo, it's different because I'm a people person and I love to sit there and talk to people and watch their expressions and whatnot. So there you go, living better, woo woo, aka all the way to you. So I want everybody to I want to be able to see you, but we can't, unfortunately. So I appreciate it. I would open up my stage so people can come up and talk, but I think to keep it on a platform that is according to the slides, that's the best way to do it, is just not to open up. Now later on, when I start running low on information or if it becomes challenging, I will open up the platform so people can come up and ask their questions or tell me about some of the things that they went through and how they overcame it. That's always welcome. So I just wanted to make sure that that was being told to you guys. So again, I do not interfere with you and your real estate agent or your lender. So love you long time, but I cannot because I don't want anybody to come at me and sue me because I've ruined their deal. Okay. Do we have Tiffany Chanel's link? I know we have 10 minutes, so does anybody have any questions? Has anybody tried a credit repair? That's the question I need to ask. Has anybody tried a credit repair and how did that work for you? Thank you, Living Better. So, guys, we're not going over there yet because Tiffany's not ready until 9 o'clock. So, when we are ready to go over, we're going to go over and become raiders. Thank you so much, Natural Way. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Every Monday at 7:30, I am going to go live with some mortgage information. Wednesdays is my um, healthy eating, and Fridays is my fitness. My channel actually is about um, living a healthy lifestyle. I became vegan, but also you do know with eating healthy, your lifestyle, you have to deal with stress in everyday work. So if I can help you from being stressful, guess what? I threw mortgage in the mix. So I can talk to you about mortgages, and that'll help you, your credit, things of that nature to keep you from being stressed. So yes, I'm going to talk about a host of things, but my biggest thing was I knew that because I was in the mortgage business and started out from collections and went all the way to the end with mortgages. So 7:30 Eastern time for all 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Um, I know you're about healthy. So maybe one day we can collab or we can actually, you can come up on the panel and we can talk about things. Do you garden too, right? Because I'm a gardener. I garden as well. Do you garden? I don't have no idea why my thing is just changing like that. Really? Yeah, so we can talk about it, sis. I think if I'm not mistaken, you were doing some gardening or something. So please forgive me if that was not the right video. So I have no idea why my slides are going back. This is too funny. Okay, so yeah, I did gardening too. And yes, the heirloom, you got the right seeds. That's all GMO free. Yes, GMO free. So definitely, definitely, let's talk about that. Let's do something. What I can do is we can communicate through IG, and then we'll go ahead and try and set something up to talk about because I know Candy C, she does. Her and her husband has taken on. Brother Herb has taken on gardening as well, and I think that would be a nice topic for Wednesdays too. And guys, I don't tell people they have to become um, vegan. So I do that just so that they can actually feel my way of life and maybe do things to change their way. Yes, GMO free. If you go to my website, guys, my website is eat the number two livestrong.org because I'm nonprofit. You will see a, is it a video? I think no, it was some pictures that I took of I think it's my phone that's doing that. I took a picture of some carrots that was in the farmer's market. The carrots was bigger than, was longer than my arm. And I put my arm up against the carrot. That was the scariest thing ever. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be happy to. So yeah, we need to think of something that we could talk about and have you to come up on a Wednesday. I don't no, I know you're not afraid to come up because you were singing on Tiffany Chanel's live last week, weren't you? I think you were singing on her live last week. So let me do it this way. Let me go ahead and come off this way so that we can go ahead and I have no idea why my computer is doing what it's doing. It's almost like somebody is watching me. So let's stop sharing. Much better. So, guys, we've got 5 minutes before the beautiful Tiffany Chanel is going to go live and rock the house with her Money Makeover Mondays. So, yes, y'all, we can go over there and just share her out, thumbs her up, show her some love, and have a good time over there. So, again, I do appreciate you guys coming out. Hey, I think what I might do is let me think. I'm trying to make sure I give you guys topics before my actual lives so that you guys can have your what I said in my first live last Monday, your your pencils, paper plus pencils equals answers. So if you had questions, you can write them down and you can bring them to me while I'm live and I can answer them for you. And if some of the things, yes, you did. You got nervous, but you did wonderful. You did a good job. You did a good job. So yes, paper, pencils equals questions. I mean equals answers. So paper, I think I said paper, pencils, questions equals answers. That was the motto. Yes, Candy C. If you go to my website, you will definitely see that huge carrot. It scared the life out of me. I said, I will not be eating this for nobody. And it was they had a chicken, black chicken. And then I did the research on that and they said the black chickens was, it had some benefits to it. I said, oh, honey, I couldn't get past the fact that it was like charcoal black chicken. It was, whoo, I have that picture on the website. I don't know, but Wednesday I'm going to do something too. Yeah, go to my website. Let me see if I can put it out there. It's the same as my screen name, except for it's .org. Yeah, so if you get a chance to go out there and check it out, you'll see some of the things I do. I hula hoop, I do hoopathons, I do a lot of nonprofit. Um, so yeah, I have recipes out there. I have to update it too because I haven't updated it much since I've been on YouTube a lot. So guys, it's 8:57. I actually did an hour and a half today with you guys, but I'm going to go live with Tiffany Chanel, and then I'm going to go live later on my own, just chill and hang out with you guys. If you want to come back and hang with me, you may do so, but I want to make sure I share the love with Tiffany Chanel. It's ironic that our live streams on Monday kind of mesh, right? Tiffany Chanel, mortgage, and then money makeover. Yes. So So, guys, let's see. We are at 8:58, and if you guys want to, well, hang on. We're gonna wait till 9 o'clock to go over there because I want to make sure I get you guys in here for as long as I can. My sister do weighted. Yes, you have to have a weighted hula hoop to do your workout. Absolutely. And Walmart, I had it last Wednesday. If you want to go back and look at my live from last Wednesday, I talked about hula hooping. I did a video, just a really short video, but I hula hoop and I do that every night. Hula hooping has a lot of benefits. And you're in the comfort of your own home. Grace Jones hula hoop, honey. She hula hooped through her entire concert. And I think that is on YouTube. Check her out. I was like, oh my God. She hula hooped through her entire concert. And she looked good. So I can hula hoop and I can start at my neck, take it all the way down and bring it all the way back up. I'm gonna do that video too. So but guys, it is coming up. We've got so we can go ahead and scoot over to Tiffany Chanel and just tell her eat to live strong Raiders. Thank you guys so much for joining me today again. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you for participating. Look for me again on Wednesday for my it's 9 o'clock. Look for me on Wednesday for my nutritional Wednesday. It starts at 7:30, and if I can get through it within an hour, then we will raid Candy C on Wednesday, and then Friday's fitness. So I thank you again for coming. I'll see you on my next live. Love you long time. And before I let you guys go, I have to do like Tiffany Chanel does. Hey y'all, it's your girl. I will see y'all later. Thank you for coming. Much love. Love you long time. Bye bye now.
Okay, guys, so baby girl has her second. Let me put this mess up and we'll get started. Everybody that's entering the chat, thank you so much for being here. I can't physically see the chat because I'm up putting things back in the refrigerator, but I do appreciate each and every one of you for being here, and those who did not leave after they heard baby girl crying, I appreciate that. Give me a few more seconds and I'll be able to get back into the chat, guys. A few more seconds. All right. So, guys, you have tuned in to Fit with Tip 100, your one-stop shop for everything fit, from being fit in your finances, fit inside your body, and fit in your thoughts. I am your host, Ms. Tiffany Chanel, and again, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Let me go ahead and look and see who all we have in the chat, because I honestly do appreciate each and every one of you. We have, let's see, it says 10, but I see 9. We have 9 amazing individuals in the chat, and I always like to capture a screenshot image and then recognize everybody for being here. So give me 1 second. Let me capture that image. All right. So I see Spring Garden.
We'll put that chicken in the oven.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
I'm going to put that
like
chicken
you're saying, good evening to each and every one in the live stream.
9 o'clock. 9.
I also see.
Oh, what you gonna eat then?
Welcome, sis.
You're not hungry?
Here. I see Candy C. Hey, boo.
Okay, cool.
Dropping the candy. Hey, love. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. I see Jessica Moira. I see Jessica Moira. Welcome, baby girl. Hey, people. It's the term of endearment. It's okay. She's taught naughty words, and so she thinks that that's a naughty word. Hey, Jessica Moira, welcome. Thank you for being here. Jaden Seth, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for thumbsing me up. No, baby girl, you're not getting thirds on the noodles. I'm sorry, but you're welcome to have a snack. Mommy already fixed you seconds. Y'all just forgive me. It's going to be like that for a little bit. And so I also see, thank you for thumbsing me up, Jessica Moira. Yeah, guys, if you haven't already, please give your girl a thumbs up. I see Trinidadian Princess. Welcome. You can have a snack, but you cannot have any more noodles. That's enough of that. So here's your snack. Your snack. You choose from one of them, and that's it. Okay. Those are the only snacks I got. No, choose one at a time. Take that with you. Thank you. And when you get hungry and ready for more, sorry, guys. 14 amazing people in the chat. Thank you again for being here. I see Trinidadian Princess. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you for being here. Natural Way of Cody. Oh, Eat to Live Strong raid. Eat to Live Strong did say she would raid me. Thank you so much, Eat to Live Strong, for the raid. And thank you, everyone who came over from Eat to Live Strong. I really appreciate it. I'm going to drop her link in the chat as well. I also see Living Better with Sal Rucker. Also, thank you, Live Strong raid. Hey, Auntie Yo-Yo. Thank you for being here. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Living Better with Sal Rucker, I always say, hey, sis. So, hey, sis. I appreciate you being here. Jaden Sis says, I was in the love stream all day, Tiffany. Oh, that's awesome, Jaden Sis. Good to know. Glad to hear that. Yeah, so I know that the love stream is still got some folks in here going on, and it is a really awesome stream to be in. So yeah, definitely glad you were there and were able to show love and receive love. Thank you for sharing that with me, and thank you for being here.
My followers for rating the host.
We have in the chat. Give me a second, because I'm also capturing the screenshot images. I see. Oh, Candy C is saying, what's for dinner? Oh, so for dinner, Peyton had some pasta. She had pasta, and she had I made breakfast for lunch the other day, And so today we had leftovers, and so she also had breakfast meat. She loves little turkey sausages. This was beef sausage this time, and then turkey bacon. And then she had carrots. So that was her dinner. Thanks for asking. And I see everybody speaking to each other. Yes, hey sis, we definitely say that. Hey sis. And thanks to each and every one of the 15 that are in the chat. I appreciate you for being here. I'm definitely looking forward to sharing with you tonight's topic. It is a money makeover Monday topic that I prepared, so I'm looking forward to sharing that. Okay, excellent. Everyone's speaking to one another. I see hearts, so it looks like everyone's ready to connect. And I see life, reality, a spiritual journey to take this. Hey, baby girl, chat, hope all is well. Thank you so much. Glad you are here. Life, reality, spiritual journey. And how are you today? How's everybody doing? Yeah, baby girl is now eating her snack. So she enjoyed her dinner. She had seconds, and so now she's enjoying her snack. She wanted thirds, but I don't want her to go back for thirds of the same thing, and so I try to give her different options for snacks. But right now she's eating an orange. She's eating 2 cutie oranges. So that's what baby girl is doing. Let me keep going through the chat and see what else we have in here. And see. Okay. All right. 16 amazing people in the chat. I see Candy C saying, hi, Peyton. Yeah, little girl, she is something. I see everybody speaking to each other. This is excellent. Let me keep going down and make sure I don't miss anyone. For Life, Reality, Spiritual Journey is saying, it's all good, Tiff. Thank you, thank you. Y'all, Eat to Live Strong rated me tonight. And if you want to I've got to teach baby girl to communicate without whining. So I've been trying to tell her things like, use your words, and not whine. Which one do you want? Did you finish your oranges? Bring your bowl back. Go get your bowl. Bring it to mommy. Sorry, I'm trying to teach her how to communicate without whining. I have not been successful yet, but when I tell her to use her words, she'll come back and use her words. Okay, great. So which one do you want now? She's like going through her snacks pretty quickly. You have to choose one at a time, and then I'll give you the other one. Which one? And then I'll give you this one after. See what I mean? Eat to Live Strong definitely rated me. I appreciate the rate. Thank you so much. So I'm going to drop Eat to Live Strong. Let's see, a link to her short video in the chat. Thank you so much. So tonight, guys, Eat to Live Strong talked about she has her mortgage Monday, and so she talks all about mortgages. If I'm saying this wrong, I apologize, sis. But she is a mortgage loan officer, or at least worked as a mortgage loan officer for some years, and so she has a lot of knowledge about mortgages. And so tonight she talked about credit and how to get approved for a mortgage. And so if you have not checked her out, definitely do so. She rated me tonight, and I so appreciate it. Let's see, we've got Brett's Gaming Channel is in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. And then we also have Harrison Family Vlogs is in the chat. Welcome, Harrison Family Vlogs. Thank you for being here. And okay, Brett's Gaming Channel. Okay, good to know. And we can't use numbers in the chat. We have to spell out the numbers. So let's see. Let me see if I can find that statement. And if so, I'll have to remove the number that you posted. But at any rate, I see the yellow hearts. I see you, Auntie Yo-Yo. Let's see. Let me keep going through. And let's see. Lux Granny Grace is saying hello, Tiffany Chanel, and hello, everyone. Hello, Lux Granny Grace. Thank you for being here. Chloe J is saying, hey, sis. Hey, sis. How are you? I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And I just want to recognize everybody that's in the chat. Hi, Mateo. I hope I'm saying your name right, Mateo. Thank you for being here. And let's see. Yes, thank you guys. Thank you, Eat to Live Strong. Please definitely thumbs up and share me out if you can. And Carolyn